Now, on Enough Said, with K-Fans Dan Barrero and Justin Guard. Enough Said.
He's saying all the right things. His father recently is saying all the right things about, there's a lot of value to a player finishing his career where it started. I think the Vikings have treated him very well. And I think there's a mutual respect between the two teams, between him and the Vikings. So I put it at about 10% chance that could happen.
Welcome to another edition of Enough Said alongside Ron Johnson, who's in for the still vacationing Dan Barrero. I'm Justin Guard, and as always, the not quite yet vacationing, but soon, Lori Fisher.
Hi, guys. You just heard him there, former Vikings linebacker and NFL analyst Ben Lee. We're talking about Adrian Peterson now being an unrestricted free agent, and the small chance Peterson will stay with the Vikings. Take a look at this. Peterson tweeted on social media a Bible verse. Your beginnings will seem humble, so prosperous will your future be. My mindset, with a video with him lifting and doing some pretty impressive jumping. He was scheduled to make $18 million this season. Justin?
Three things about that workout video first before we talk about the fact that he's no longer with the Vikings. Number one, he said that he did that with no warm-up, which, sure, that's impressive, but not smart, Ron. Right. You know that. Yep. You got to at least get the blood flowing a little bit.
Especially at age 32.
Secondly, I don't think he took the bar all the way down, so I'm not giving him credit for all 20. And third, you're not supposed to do box jumps with squat bars on your back. That was all insane. But it's Adrian, so it was an impressive video for sure. This week has been strange for me because who in their right mind ever thought that the news this week was going to be, well, the Vikings have decided that they're going to give Adrian Peterson $18 million, right? We've been saying for months they were never going to do this. Even going back a couple of years, we had this year or even last year, are they really going to pay him all that money? So the news is not surprising at all. I was kind of surprised by people going, there it is. He's now officially gone. He's never coming back. 10% chance, 15% chance. I've heard some people think it might even be a 25% chance that he comes back. I'm curious what you think.
I honestly think it's 50-50. I mean, there's a lot of teams out there. Yeah, I think there's a lot of teams out there that are going to go after him. But the Vikings, like Ben Lieber said, the Vikings have done a lot for him. They've been very, gracious to him through all of his injuries, through all of his off-the-field issues. Right. They stuck by him. And so you can't just turn your back on the team because you think, okay, there's something else out there for me. I know he wants to be a Super Bowl contender. The Vikings are that, and if they can take $9 million back and offer him $9 million, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. But
that might be too much.
It might be, but it could be incentive latent though, or maybe $7 million.
You can mix it up a little bit
and throw some incentives on there, like play a couple preseason games. We'll give you $100,000 or $200,000 to play in the preseason. Make all your workouts in the summer. Don't be in Texas the whole time. We'll give you some more money. Some of that stuff from the jail with Sam Bradford. Learn Shermer's new offense. Become a pass receiving running back. Work on it. Catch some balls out of the jugs. Catch from Sam. But the biggest thing is you can take that money and they can speak this story to Adrian over and over and over again. We can go get an offensive lineman for you.
And we need one.
Or 2 or 3.
Yeah, and I think they need 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6.
I mean, second round, there's some good guards out there that I think they're going to snatch up in that 40-ish spot. But after that, those guards from college, then you have to kind of figure out who's our staple, who's our tight end, who's our tackles. I mean, I know we have Rudolph. Are we going to give Matt Khalil money? So there's a lot going on.
It sounds like Khalil's ready to go play with his brother in Carolina. So now they need 2 tackles, at least 1 guard, and they might need a center as well. So they have an awful lot of needs. So it makes no sense to give them a ton of money. Now, what do you think about this idea? People pretend like they don't care around here, Vikings fans. But if Adrian's serious about winning, there's about 5 teams that he could go to, right, that are always in the conversation the last decade or so. New England, Pittsburgh, Seattle, Dallas, and the Green Bay Packers. How many of those teams need a running back?
Don't forget the Giants.
The Giants, but even they're weirder. I mean, we're year in and year out the last 5 years. You could say those are the 5 teams that are going to be in there regardless. There's about 1 or 2 of those teams that need a running back.
Enough said.
And one of them is the Green Bay Packers.
I hate the Packers, and I could see that happening with Aaron Rodgers, but I don't think he fits well with the way Aaron Rodgers, because you need a back that can actually
we have to move on.
Be a true pass protector.
We'll stay on Vikings, but let's talk about Sam Bradford. He joined the Vikings, the team, at the start of last season after Teddy Bridgewater got hurt. Who could be his backup, Ron?
Well, there's a lot of names out there right now. I mean, honestly, I like Nick Foles. Nick Foles is a guy that was with the Eagles. Him and Sam know each other. He's a guy that's been a consummate backup. He's been a starter if something happens to Sam, God forbid. But I think Nick Foles is a good fit. I mean, there's some other names out there that people are talking about. Colin Kaepernick now says he won't kneel anymore. So he
the
clearly –
national anthem, so now we can take him?
So now everybody wants him because not everybody wants him, but he's trying to make sure, hey, I'm a free agent. I have a new head coach. I'm not going to kneel anymore, so please don't hold that against me. I don't know if he fits in the Viking system, but he is a running quarterback. And then you look at Matt Barkley, who his audition for the Vikings was that last game in U.S. Bank Stadium. Not a great game, but also he could be a backup because he's a lot younger. He was really good at USC. And then you have Christian Ponder. Christian Ponder's a free agent.
Say that. Yeah, no. Let's not do that.
He might want to come back.
He might want to come back. Sure. Actually, I don't think so. I don't think his family could go through the trauma that was the last couple of years here. I am going to be interested to see how they address the quarterback position generally from the starting spot with Sam Bradford all the way through the backup. They like Taylor Heineke. It was funny, Rick Spielman this week in Indianapolis saying, as a general manager, I guess I should have figured out that he was going to try to kick a window down or a door down in Atlanta, and I didn't have a good enough backup plan for that, right? So they like him a little bit, but who knows what his availability is ever going to be if he's done forever.
Yeah, he needs to get some movie glass that he can actually just
That's
kick.
right.
That won't hurt him.
Yeah, some TV glass.
Exactly.
Some prop glass.
He needs to do that.
So, but what are they going to do with the starter, Sam Bradford, too? Are they going to extend him before the season? Because we still don't know what's going to happen with Teddy Bridgewater. Are they going to draft a quarterback, which to me would seem kind of foolish given all the other needs they have. But if you don't know what you're going to do with Sam, you don't know what you're going to do with Sam.
Right.
So I'm curious how they're going to handle the quarterback position.
I don't think
top
draft
all the
is
way
it
down to
because
the
you don't
bottom.
want to Browns this season up. Don't be the Browns. Don't go after the shiny new quarterback. I'd say a veteran. It has to be a veteran, somebody that you know. If anything happens to Sam Bradford, we have somebody that can come in and run this offense. As we know, Teddy might not be back for 18, looking more towards 19. Tyler Heineke could be the third quarterback because I think Sean Hill at 37.
We're going to leave it there.
He's done.
They have a lot more holes than we thought.
Yeah,
like
a lot
year
of
ago.
holes.
We got to
Enough
figure it
said.
out.
Let's talk about Gophers basketball. 8 straight wins. They beat Nebraska at home Thursday night, the most wins in a season officially since 1977. They take Wisconsin on Sunday. Here is Coach Pitino after the game.
They got to look to them that are really, really poised. And they weren't flustered today at all. And they were very, very confident, But you know what? I mean, when you win 8 games in a row in the conference, in the Big Ten, you've earned the right to be confident. And obviously you're not arrogant, but, you can play with anybody.
I think it's safe to say that everybody is on the bandwagon now. What do you think, Justin?
They are. Richard Pitino, a big fan of Enough Said, by the way. So, hi, Coach. Congratulations on another win. He's usually watching the replay Saturday morning trying to wake up with his kids. But what the disappointing thing is, the home season is now over. The season's now over. Everybody's on the bandwagon. We've been talking about the Gophers for the last couple of weeks. They've been playing well for about 2 months, really, if you want to flesh it out. About 6 weeks. And it hasn't really been until the last 2 or 3 weeks where people have really jumped on. And Coach is right. They are poised. They just no-doubted Nebraska the other day. And Nebraska's not really good, and Penn State's not really good either. But we've seen this here in the Big Ten that different teams can hang around. There's been a lot of parity. And when they're making shots like they are now, and they're defending like they are now, and they're still driving like they have been all season, and they're playing together like they have been all season, they're incredibly fun to watch, and they're incredibly tough to beat. And even though in 1997 didn't count, 31-4,
It counts.
I remember it, and parts of this team remind me of that team and how they play and just how well they're playing now with the most important part of the season coming up.
Right, and I like the thing we didn't hear from Pitino was he talked about knowing and being a part of some great March runs, and that when those March runs happen, enjoy them, enjoy the moment, because when they stop, it's done.
Just done, and then what do you have? And you have the last couple of months that you should have been enjoying. It's
if
a great
you look
point.
at Jordan Murphy, he's the energy, he's the gel, he's basically has a ton of upside in just showing what he can do. I think 6 double-doubles in the last 7 games, 20 points, 11 rebounds last night. Nate Mason, 25 points. I mean, and Amir Coffey hasn't even had to really just take over because all the guys are playing, and we're still waiting for that resurgence where that's going to happen. It's going to happen in the tournament where he's going to have to pull a Hopkins high school type of game out of his back pocket and just take over and just shoot, and get the guys involved in the game. But it's cool to see. I think Pitino as a coach is doing well. He doesn't have like the roll the boat or anything like that, but we have to find something for the Pitino bandwagon. I don't know what we call it, the Pitino party bus.
Well, he said last week, keep the train moving. And I said, did you go with that because row the boat was already taken? Maybe. And you mentioned Coffey. I think it's a good point. It's hard to pick, game to game an MVP, and I think that speaks to their balance because you could make a case for Jordan Murphy, Nate Mason, Dupree McBrayer, who comes off the bench now and has been fantastic the last couple of years. Had a nice drive
in lane dunk.
Dunks, he's a great passer. Yeah. He's making shots. And then you mentioned Amir Coffey, who's Mr. Basketball here a year ago, the most important recruit Richard Pitino's ever gotten. They have not had to rely on him, I don't think, nearly as much as people thought. Haven't even mentioned Reggie Lynch and what he does defensively. And then Akeem Springs, the graduate transfer. There's 5 guys where you can say, oh, yeah, this guy has been the MVP of different parts of the season.
Right.
That's why they've been so successful, Ron. It's the balance.
Yeah, I mean, and when you have a balanced team like that, that's the biggest piece. When you have balance,
Coming up next on Enough Said.
The story that won't go away, Ron. This story will never, ever, ever go away. And apparently, tall buildings in the downtown area on a river where there's migratory patterns, apparently birds are going to run into buildings there. That's what we've learned.
Welcome back to Enough Said. The Oscar drama continues. The 2 accountants responsible for the biggest fiasco in Oscars history not only won't be working the show again, but get this, PricewaterhouseCoopers has also hired security protection from the 2. As we all know, unless you've been living under a rock, that the presenters, Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway, were given the wrong envelope. So they said La La Land won Best Picture, and really it was Moonlight. Justin, the story is just not going away.
No, I think on next week's Enough Said, we'll be talking about the public execution of the 2 accountants from PricewaterhouseCoopers.
Because tarred and feathered.
That's where this story has gone, and it's completely lost control. And I talked a lot about it on the radio this week. And some people gave me some pushback and said, let it go. It happened Sunday. This was a long time ago. I said, I would like to let this go. I think we should let this go. But every day, there's another drip and another drab. And now we literally have protection for these people. Look, it was a major meltdown. It was a bad moment. They screwed it up. They did things they weren't supposed to be doing, like tweeting during the ceremony, and they were clearly distracted. But at the end of the day, this is an award show. It might be the most famous award show, and maybe the most important award show, but lives were not changed here. There were no lives at stake. And the fact that there are people that have enough time, first of all, and enough anger to throw up these people's addresses online, to which now they have protection, unbelievable. But then again, it's not unbelievable because this is exactly where the story was always going to go. We've completely lost control of it.
I think it was staged. I think a part of it was
staged. You think
staged.
it was staged?
I don't think like the whole thing. I think once it happened, it kind of became its own
beast.
That's
a big conspiracy.
Because you're saying like let it go, so now I can see the 2 girls from Frozen, coming out with a song for them and for people. I can see next year the drum roll up until that moment again for Best Picture, and everybody's going to be
It's going to be highly anticipated,
yeah, and
for
so
sure.
if you look at the demographic of people that were watching it, the age group of millennials kind of is not watching the Oscars. But with a fiasco like this.
So they want the viral moment now.
Yeah, they want the viral moment, and you're going to have every millennial with their headphones in, watching the Oscars from their iPhone or their tablet.
That's deep.
Ready.
You are a marketer.
Ready to tweet the minute something happens. And there's going to be a joke next year, too. There's going to be something like where both envelopes come out and they're going to open both just to make sure. I mean, it's going to be
whoever's hosting
they're going to make a big deal about this because it lost. Like me, for instance, I didn't care. Like I wasn't watching it. But the minute I saw my Twitter and Facebook feed blow up,
it exploded.
I'm like, what happened? And so of course, I had to go back and replay it and watch it and laugh. And, I think the biggest thing is that people just want something, and that was, not say staged, but I think there was something
I feel bad for Warren Beatty because I thought, I stereotyped. I said Warren Beatty has lost his mind.
Well, he gave it to Faye Dunaway so she could
He should have
passed it off.
He should have fainted. Like, he should have, like, the whole thing, like when you see a zombie, you just play dead.
But he knew something was wrong.
Faint, and then they could have went to commercial.
Okay, we have to move on. Maybe they'll make a movie out of it, like a Lifetime movie.
And that's what's going to happen. The Oscars will have a movie now for those 2 people.
There you go. The Wild proving they can be winners coming off a bye, but then on Thursday night they lost to the Blue Jackets, a tough team. Justin?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. You can look at it either way, optimistically or negatively. In Dan Barrero's absence, I'll take the negative role maybe, and you can be the positive role. Actually, I'm going to take all of it. But the first 2 games, they had not played well. Since the bye, they have not played very well. Yet, they had won both games, and they had picked up 4 points. I do think, and you know this, as a longtime athlete, as a former professional athlete, there's nights where you just don't have it. There's days where you just don't have it, and what do the good teams do? They find a way to still win on those nights. So I do think they have that skill, but it is kind of concerning that you have the mumps back again. You weren't playing great going into the break. You're still not playing great. Now you've lost. I think they have done one thing, is made the regular season irrelevant, where now all we're doing is worrying about the postseason. So in a way, I think that's a positive, but there's some things that they have to clean up here before they start the
mumps were staged because just in case they lost, It was that was the reason.
Excuse.
They needed an excuse. It wasn't the bye week. It was the mumps. The NHL let the mumps loose on them or some outbreak monkey
How
in the
much
locker
disinfectant is in a professional sports locker room? You've been in a lot of
It's
them.
pretty nasty and gross.
It is, but you guys take care of yourselves, right?
I mean, there's always stuff on the wall about like how to take care of stuff and all these different diseases you can get from the shower and make sure you cover up your cuts and all this other stuff before you shower.
It's unbelievable. 2 years we've had the same
wear
outbreak.
your shower shoes, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So there's tons of germs and everything. But if you look at the team, I look at it like this. You play to win the game. They won the game. Regardless of how bad it was a win. They lost, they just lost. Yeah, it happens. The whole, kick the puck in and did it happen? Was it on purpose? Was it not on purpose? Biggest thing is, out of the bye week, 2-1. You can't be mad about that. They're going to get it together. Mikko Koivu's still playing good. Granlund is playing lights out. I mean, they have the guys, but again, it's the bye week. That going to Disney World and going to Jamaica,
Turks and Caicos.
I've been thinking about that. I'm like, man, I couldn't imagine a football bye week being able to go to Jamaica and then come back and have to practice and then play a football game.
Be ready to roll.
It doesn't work. Like you're in vacation mode. It's like going to vacation and coming back to do enough said. Guerrero's going to be out of it.
He's going to be a mess.
He's going to be fully tanned.
Yeah, it's going to be
and he's going to be out of it.
It's going to be terrible.
Anyway.
Anyway.
3 organizations, including the Audubon chapter of Minneapolis, put out a report on the U.S. Bank Stadium's effect on birds. We're talking about the reflective glass on the building that birds can run into. They monitored from mid-August to early November and say they found 60 dead birds during that time. There will be another study done, but this one in conjunction with the Minnesota Sports Facilities Authority. The MSFA told me that they continue to work on a feasible monitoring plan and will have more information when the study is finalized in 2019. Guys?
The story that won't go away, Ron. This story will never, ever, ever go away. And apparently, tall buildings in a downtown area on a river where there's migratory patterns, apparently birds are going to run into buildings there. That's what we've learned, right?
Yeah.
That's what we've learned. That's what we knew this before. We know it after. So I guess the only solution is, for some of these people, is we should have no skyscrapers. We should have no big buildings. Everything should be no glass.
Right.
And 3 stories, would that be the tallest that you can build it? Not surprising that this study came to these conclusions, that birds are dying, that they've been stunned. But I don't know what we do. We can't tear it down now. We can't use new glass. I know they brought in 3M to use some kind of film on it, but it's a downtown building. Things are going to happen, I would think.
I just hope that the birds don't try to come back and attack during the season because they're seeing all their friends. I mean, I looked at one of the reports, and I think they said, well, within a year, it says like 500 birds estimated could die with this stadium. And I'm like, 500 of my friends got killed. I don't have 500 friends, but I do on Facebook, I guess, or Twitter or Instagram.
You'd have a problem.
I'd have a problem. So I
march.
hope that these birds don't partner up,
rally
and come attack right before the Packers game or something, because they know that's when everybody's going to be there, and they're just going to I can see the movie Birds, or whatever that movie was, where all the birds just attacked everybody, and then then they're going to force the then we're going to have a sit down and figure out how to change the glass because the birds are protesting, or have a bird protest. I don't know if you saw the video where there's a bunch of turkeys or something circling a cat.
Yep, I've seen it.
So clearly they know how to be uniform.
They can mobilize.
They get all the chickens and turkeys and stand out in front of the stadium, and then kind of like a Chick-fil-A commercial where they're protesting, the cows are protesting, stop eating beef, eat chicken. But, I think the glass, it's something that's going to happen. I think we've been prepared for this. I don't know what you can do. I mean, I just say you move on from it.
Yeah, you study it and you say, all right, we don't want a bunch. First of all, we're going to get a lot of letters from bird people this week, I think, for this last 2 minutes. This might not even make the show for all the mail that's coming here. But you've got, you say, we're going to do our best. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's a people's world out here, right? And it's the people's stadium, and we've got this.
Or they could hire 200 2-year-olds.
Coming up next on Enough Said.
To me personally, that feels like, okay, you're going to have shrimp and steak tonight, but hey, here's the asparagus instead. That I don't know. I mean, Gaga's great. I think she'll have her own crowd.
Time for the lightning round. Minnesota lawmakers are considering a bill that would replace up to 5 snow days with e-learning days. As a parent, great idea, maybe a bummer for kids. Remember when you were little and you waited for your school district to scroll on the bottom of your screen? Justin?
Yeah, well, I remember being heartbroken because we never got, the only time we got a snow day is when the governor decreed it the night before. I remember it was one of the greatest days of my life. I was a 7th grader at basketball practice, and one of the moms came in and said, no school tomorrow, and we couldn't believe it because we were metropolitan area. At some point, we're all going to be e-learning. You're never going to have to go to school. It's going to be 3-day weeks. The other 2 are going to be e-learning. But no, for me, who never got to experience snow days, I don't feel bad for the kids.
I mean, having a kindergartner as a parent, go to school. Don't give them
you
snow
need 'em.
days. Take them away, go to school, get them out the house. That's the best time is dropping them off, and then if you don't have to go to work, you
Just
got some
sitting
free
there
time.
in the
Yeah,
silence.
you could drop them off. But, you know, I'm from Detroit. We didn't have snow days either. So no matter if the snow was at the top of the door of the school, we had to find a way to
next
burst
up.
our way in there.
And you had to walk.
I'm
both
more
ways
interested
uphill.
if you playing basketball. That was interesting.
5'9", deceptively slow.
Speaking of basketball, after more than 30 years, the voice of Gophers basketball, Dick Jonkowski, is retiring. He was honored at halftime Thursday night. Get this, he would call imaginary games when he was a kid in New Prague. Justin?
The voice of my childhood, really. Williams Arena was my favorite place to go as a basketball player, 5'9", who could never play for the Golden Gophers. And so my dream was to always have my name introduced by Dick Jonkowski at Williams Arena. I got to do it one time when I was a dunk contest judge for Midnight Madness. My buddy didn't record it, so I don't have it.
Judge, I was about to say participant.
No, definitely not.
Okay, you could probably call him and ask him to do it for you. You could make
You
it
remind
like
me. I was
arrangement.
gonna say like Woody Harrelson.
Next
That's who you play.
Jack
That's
Nicklaus says
100%
he
right.
is puzzled when it comes to what's going on with Tiger Woods. Woods has pulled out of several tournaments due to back spasms. Nicklaus suggested that there may be more to it. Ron, what do you think?
I think there is. I mean, Tiger Woods, it's just so much to this story. I mean, he's been through so much. I don't think it's physical anymore. It's still mental for him.
Yeah.
Like it's like that's why Jack Nicklaus said this, which is weird to see a great like Jack Nicklaus even get involved in Tiger
Well,
Woods
everybody
drama.
wants Tiger to be back.
Yeah, it's just
Even
so much
though they
to
don't
it,
need him
though.
Okay,
anymore.
we gotta
Golf is
keep going.
great, but it'd be great if he could come
Real
back.
He
quick,
would. He was a great golfer.
Lady Gaga steps in for Beyonce for Coachella. Ron, I gotta give it to you.
I do not
This
like.
is Lori. This is your topic, Lori.
It's-
What do you
I don't
think?
like. I
That's
don't.
Ron's
I
topic.
don't really listen. I don't dislike Gaga. I don't listen to her music. But I think if I was a fan and I was buying a ticket because of Beyonce and then you replaced it with Lady Gaga, that's like, to me personally, that feels like, okay, you're gonna have shrimp and steak tonight, but hey, here's the asparagus instead. Like that I don't know. I mean, Gaga's great. I think she'll have her own crowd of people she's gonna draw in. She did a great job at the Super Bowl. But I still think, you know, when you lose Beyonce, you got to fill in with some
Quickly,
other stuff.
a survey by U.S. News and World Report ranks Minnesota as the third best state to live in. Justin.
I can't believe we're that low, really. I mean, you stayed here after college. I lived here my whole life. Who wouldn't want to
Who's
live
1
here?
and 2 though, Lori?
Massachusetts and New Hampshire.
New
she
Hampshire.
Told me earlier. East Coast bias.
Okay, we have
As
to
the
get
best
this.
play.
This is awkward and really good. A Fox reporter in Houston talks to someone on the street, what we call MOS, man on the street, and look who they grab. Take a look.
They, swerving in front of people or speeding up, trying to catch up to people. You never know what people, how they will react to it. Absolutely. All right, your name? Adrian Peterson. Wait a minute. You're not. Yeah.
Greatest video of the week for so many reasons. That Adrian's just wandering around Houston, that he's wandering around one of your bro tanks. I think you lent that to him from one of the Vikings Sunday games. And that the reporter just rolls up and says, let's just get to this guy. And he speaks knowledgeably on what's going on in the Houston traffic situation.
Right.
Just completely tied up in a beautiful little bow. I thought it was fantastic.
I'm more concerned I couldn't tell if he was in Texas or New Jersey because he looks like he's about to go hang out on the Jersey Shore with the T-shirt time guys.
Good recall, yeah.
I mean, that tank top, that threw
You're not
me
into
off.
the bro tanks.
I'm not
the
into
kids
the
love
You
them.
know what? I like him, but not that purple though.
You didn't like it?
Yeah, the color just threw me off.
Mix and match.
It's like a suck Skittle purple.
The reporter actually said, I don't believe you, and Adrian Peterson then did 400 push-ups with that reporter on his
Without
back.
warming up.
That proved him. He just said, I'll just do 400 push-ups, and you'll know by the end of it that I'm all day.